I was talking to my father. I say, Papa, the family is not wealthy. Maybe I am heading to work. And of course, it's very sad when my father sent me to the train station. So by myself, with a sleeper and plastic bag, travel to Singapore. So when I landed, one little factory in Geylang, they say, this is the factory you're going to work, going to eat here, and you're going to sleep inside the factory.
At 16, George Goh had nothing but a train ticket to Singapore. He worked his way up from being a shoemaker in a factory, and today he's a very successful entrepreneur that has listed billion-dollar companies. Join us as we learn more about George's entrepreneurship journey through the years. So George, introduce yourself to people in one sentence.
My name is George Goh Qinghua. People call me George Goh. In Chinese, they call me Wu Zhenhua.
What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
3 words: determination, keep going, innovation.
So George, this podcast is going to be about entrepreneurship. So do you feel that entrepreneurship is for everyone?
I think can, especially for the young one.
Especially for young. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what qualities do you think would be important for an entrepreneur to have to do well in it?
First thing, I think work hard is very important. And second, when there's a doubt, make sure you get up again. The other third one, I always believe is control your costs.
Control your costs, yeah.
Yes.
So in Singapore, there are many SMEs, right? And there are also many SME bosses. In fact, in Singapore, SME culture sometimes has a bad rap because SME bosses are not known for the best practices. So, what would your advice be for these sort of entrepreneurs, right? Who are maybe smaller businesses, smaller SMEs, and they one day want to become MNC?
For a leader to think about MNC, either you decide to go into capital market or the industry you're in is a booming industry. Don't think too much about MNC first when you start your business, right? You do it step at a time. You and myself take about 14 years, from a couple of $1,000 to 120 million in 1996, 82, so about 14 years. It takes a journey, to reach there. Some point in time you will be there, but as I say, you must have a good vision. As a leader, it's very important you must have a vision.
So one of the main things, which separates these 2 categories is probably having a very good vision. Right? I think you also mentioned being in a booming industry, right?
Yes,
that's also
correct.
very important. I guess it's when, when the tide rises, right, all ships rise, right?
Definitely. You see, if I look at electronic industry, I entered in 1999. Of course, I have a wonderful partner called Jerry Harvey. We set up for Asia base because of the booming of the property sector in Singapore as well. In Malaysia as also, Indonesia, all this country. Now the household need all this electronic, even furniture and bedding. Till now, you can see the progress of this part of the world is still moving.
So what do you think are the booming industries of today? If you were a new entrepreneur, right, or you were to give advice to someone who's young, right, what would the booming industry be that they should go into?
Of course, tech-based is very important now. Everybody talking about technology-based. Especially the COVID time, everybody believe tech will be the future. Of course, now we're all talking about AI now. But you must understand your industry very well before you're talking about whether it's booming or not booming. I want to give specific advice to the young people. Don't go into something they are not familiar, especially when you start your career. You hold something you understand. You begin, it's okay. But you can do a pivot later, not now. Don't rush. I know young people like to rush, right? To see whether how fast I can become a first millionaire. If you don't think about the million will come to you. Very interesting. All right? Don't think about it.
I think the issue is everyone wants to be part of a booming industry, but sometimes what you think is a booming industry might not really be a booming industry, right? Or it might just be a lot of hype. And because of that, sometimes young people, although they want to get into booming industries, they end up, in the wrong place, right? Which is why, your advice then becomes, you have to go and understand the industry that you're getting into, right?
Right, absolutely correct. Can I get back to you talking about the SME?
Yeah.
There's another issue we're facing is the talent pool, right? Most of the talent pool tend to move to the MNC or those industry that is up and coming industry like AI and all this. SME, a bit difficult to bring in talent pool as well. Couple of things the founder must hold into it carefully. One is, as I say, you got to work a bit long hour. It's okay. When you establish your foundation, in the future it will be okay. The second one is you would try to bring in as much as possible some good talent pool inside. I know it's difficult because you don't give a lot of so-called benefit or
Yeah.
compared to those MNC, like, Brian, very difficult.
I think all the the young employees today, they expect like a fully stocked, unlimited pantry. Some people might even expect like free food all the time, because all these FANG companies which are doing very well, like they're in different industries, they have different profit margins. They just provide a very attractive environment. Sometimes it's a bit hard for SMEs to feel we're up against that, and
Yeah.
oh no, how are we going to attract employees?
Yes, absolutely correct.
So George, given your humble beginnings, right, and from there, your success as a businessman, there's an age-old question which I want to ask you. Can money buy happiness?
Oh, the answer is no. Don't bank on money to buy happiness. Yeah, you can buy a big car, you can own a yacht, you can private jet, you can have a beautiful house. But I think this is all material, right? Of course, you will have it, it's nice. To me, I think family is bonding. For me, this is the most important.
Yeah, we always hear stories of people who are very rich and very successful, but they are not happy. Like, why do you think that's the case?
If you enter into competitions, who is richer than the other one, this is one of the problems we'll surface. The gentleman may have 300 million, you say, I only have 200 million. Then you continue to say, in 2 years' time, I need to make sure I'm above him and so on and so on. I think this one definitely is a no-no to me. I don't think we should develop the society in this way. But it's good, someone can make it a fortune, all right, it's good. Hopefully, he can do some nice thing as well, especially in the community area. How about you, Brian? If you had 10 million, are you happy?
If I had 10 million, I'll be extremely happy. I would say that a lot of times this happiness would be temporary, right?
Yeah.
And then after a while, probably we'll adjust to it, right?
Yeah.
And then the goal would then be maybe maintaining that 10 million, and that might be difficult, and then our happiness level might go down. But I do think money is very important. I think it helps solve a lot of problems. I do feel that as maybe people's wealth grows, their mindset has to grow as well, right? And I feel some people who are very rich and very successful, maybe their mindset doesn't grow as much, and they are still continuing to go and chase.
Yeah.
Whenever you chase something, I feel that you are really kind of entering into a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you obtain that desire. And people are always, trying to go and give new desires to themselves to obtain.
Yeah. Brian, for me, I try to put into my life into a few areas to make me a bit happy. Number one, of course, I work as hard as possible. It's my career. Second, I think my family is very important to me. I believe the family is the foundation. Do some community work, that will be nice, because this area is something that will make you some difference. The last part I was thinking, if you have some interest, will be good. Like myself, I like to sing, especially the opera. When they sing the high note, very interesting. When they hit the note, make you very happy. But sometimes not easy also to hit the right note.
Sounds like an idea for a TikTok video one day.
Oh yeah, why not?
Apart from opera, what else do you do in your free time? Are you like one of those who would, watch Netflix or on social media app, or how do you pass your time entertainment-wise?
Oh, Brian, I don't have much time.
Okay.
For Netflix, if I turn on into episode 10, the next episode will be the last 2 episodes, not so good. I don't have time for that. Social media, this is not something is in me. Again, I say I don't have much time because I have many responsibility in my life. But as and when I just see some news, see what is going on, especially the geopolitical problem, what affected the Singapore, high cost of living. So at least I want to know what affected, especially in Singapore.
So when people think of you now, I feel a lot of people just associate you with Harvey Norman, right? Because I guess it's the most familiar brand which people know.
Yes.
Right? But you've actually you've invested in over 100 businesses, right? Yeah. But even before that, before you decided to go and create your own business, right? How did you get experience in the industry?
I will share with you a bit on when I was close to 16. I was talking to my father. I say, Papa, the family is not wealthy. The environment we're in the village is quite difficult. So I initiated to my father. I say, maybe I'm heading to work, maybe useful. I think I convinced my father,
That was your first pitch.
I think maybe my father is a very tough man. I think in my life I see my father is a very tough man, and of course it's very sad when my father sent me to the train station, so by myself with a sleeper and plastic bag, travel to Singapore. So when I landed, one little factory in Geylang, they say, this is the factory you're going to work, you're going to eat here, and you're going to sleep inside the factory. At that age, right, 15 plus, I say, okay. So we just take on the job. And I start as a general worker. They say the daily job will be very simple. You need to sweep the floor, buy the coffee. So I become a tea boy. Then you just help the master. There's a shoemaker we call master. You just help them to pick up the stuff here and there.
And this is when you were 16 years old.
I was 16 years old.
How do you eventually move up the ranks in the factory?
I worked quite hard. I asked the master maybe to teach me the skill. So I managed to learn during the few years. So at the end, of course, I mastered as a shoemaker.
And you became a master yourself?
Yes, but that shoemaking, there are two parts of it, Brian. I'm doing the bottom part. But without the top part, you cannot, shoe need to be two parts of it. So I managed to convince one of my friends, please come and join me. That's why sometimes partnership is important, Brian. If you only know certain skill, maybe your partner know the other skill, put together. Maybe good for you.
Yeah, I do feel it's the same thing when it comes to finding a co-founder, right? You want someone to complement you.
Exactly.
Right? So if you are providing the sole, they are providing the top of the sole.
And then done deal.
Done deal.
And then one pair of shoes, right? So at the age 22, of course, my family lifestyle about the same. So we don't earn a lot of money as a worker. Anyway, we put a few $1,000s together. Say, why don't we start to do something on our own?
How do you convince, your family to go and put aside money?
Not for my father, mother. It's my brother and I have another sister who are helping. Our saving, so-called saving, not a lot. Combined together about $4,000-5,000. In 80s, maybe still possible. But now, of course, 5,000 is, quite difficult. During the time, I say, if I can make it, it will be the history, right? Couple of $1,000s, you can start the business, it become a history. Then we work, of course, very hard, day and night. I just rent a place that I live there also. I live in the same factory. I eat the same one. Same model I used to be in when I was 16 years old. So I use the same model. Oh yeah, so I don't have to pay rent, At first, I don't have a house, When I first married, I rent in Hougang 1 room. So our first so-called we need to transport our good, right, to the shop, right? We don't have a car. So we had a motorbike. My brother had a motorbike. So a couple of years later, we bought a second-hand car.
I don't know if you've seen the TikTok videos of one guy on a scooter carrying 20 pizzas. Was it kind of like that where you had to go and balance and go and carry a lot?
My one's slightly better. My brother ride the bike. I'm at the back like holding Tarzan, Yeah, you hold it, That is slightly better.
Okay.
Two of us have to work together. Yeah. Have you ever experienced this?
I haven't done deliveries myself, but I used to also sleep in the office. Right?
Oh, yeah?
Because save money, right? And it was a home office for TSL for I think the first 2-3 years. Yeah, now, of course, my HR will not allow it. My wife also will not allow it.
I see.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
And also because I just wanted to be completely obsessed with work and do nothing but work. So
yeah, correct.
Wake up, work, eat, sleep. That's kind of like my life for the first few years.
Yeah.
So you were 22 years old, you had your first business finally, and you were on your motorbike with your brother making deliveries. So when was the moment where you had your big break?
When I started to represent the brand as a distributor in this part of the world, you will see the transition is like this, right? From a manufacturing to trading, then you call wholesale, right? It's a bit similar to trading. It's a wholesale export and import.
So rather than having to go and manufacture all of the shoes or the apparel yourself, you thought it's more scalable to also import and work with other factories.
Yeah, and the volume you increase, right? Remember I mentioned about the capital? You build up your capital so you can start to do trading. So your revenue is also increased. So when we start to travel to all these countries like Italy, like Germany, like UK, like US, Of course, you have to approach them, the brand owner, to trust you can handle the brand well in this part of the world. You know, the branding to them is the bread and butter. If you cannot protect the brand, they will never give you a distributorship. Not easy, you know, Brian.
So to build the trust, you like physically go to their office, visit them.
Of course, you got to speak. You see the language different. In Italy, they don't speak to you all in English, you know. So not 100% you need to use the English, but anyway, there's no other language you can speak. Like the only language you can communicate at that point in time is the English.
Then were there any issues with communication with them?
You see, language is good. You can speak very well, perfect pronunciation, put all the word is correct and so on. The end of the day, you see all these owners, they're very clear. Where are you coming from? You're coming from Singapore? Okay. Which country are you representing? Okay, these few countries you're representing. How the history? Are you successful? Yeah, how much your capital when you put in? So of course they also ask you how much you have now. Now you have to demonstrate to them you can build up the brand or build up your capital. So build up the capital is the build up the brand so that you must let them feel you can handle that. So when you pitch a brand, of course you will speak as good as you can, right? But that's not the only language you need to speak. Your body language is important. Your sincerity. They know, they can catch, you know, these people are very smart people because they see all the brand have represent all the country. They see all the different type of owner come and pitch the brand from Japan, from Korea. So they know more or less the culture of Asia culture. So I was a little boy, you know, because my size is very small. My brother the same thing, both of us very small size. So of course you got to speak very passionate. You convince them we are the right people to represent your brand. So at the time, so we successfully bring in quite a number of brands to make the revenue. If I recall my revenue in 1996, we already 100 million.
Already 100 million, okay.
Yeah. So can you imagine 82 to 96? Revenue itself is already 100 million.
How old were you at that point of time?
So I started at 22, plus 14, 36 years old. So Brian, don't worry, you cannot speak Italian, okay? When I, just to share with you, okay? I went to my class, my first song, Italian song. He said, George, you need to sing Italian song. So I say, okay, I will try my best to see whether I can sing, you know.
Can we have a bit of a demo of an Italian
Oh,
song?
solo mio. Oh, sole mio. But anyway, they say my teacher was saying very funny. He said, how can you sing like Hokkien? Very close to the Hokkien. My goodness, it's so embarrassing, right? But it doesn't matter. Your voice is still your voice. It doesn't matter. You understand? At the end, you will get there. Right? So the first song, they say Italian song like Hokkien song. I say, okay, don't worry. We will practice hard enough, we will get there. So for you also the same thing, when you want to expand your business into Asia Pacific, don't let all these things as an obstacle. No. Most important, you can show them your drive, your sincerity, and you're the hard-working guy. That's more important.
Yeah, because I'm a bit worried that, you know, like Singaporeans, our Singlish accent is quite strong, right? I'm a bit worried that people might not understand me sometimes. But, you know, from what I hear, it's just go ahead and do it anyway, because there are other things which people look at, right? Things like sincerity, your body language, and of course your track record. That's very important.
Brian, if you speak, let's say, 100% all the correct tone, correct note, correct length. In fact, all the owner will start to say, this guy must be a sales guy, you know. This guy is not an entrepreneur. But because entrepreneur, they have a special in the DNA, right? When you speak, you won't speak 100% perfect, right? But you don't need to. To convince someone, you don't need to 100% do that. When I talk about perfect English at that point in time, I can't. I don't think I can speak perfect English as well at the time. I don't think so. And why all these international brands, more than 50 to 60 brands, international, not in one country, multiple countries. And they trust the Goh brothers. The other brothers, the same thing. They pitch the brand as good. My younger brothers speak the same thing. Of course, the language must be enough. You cannot speak till people don't understand your whole sentence, right?
Yeah.
Then it would be a big problem, no, Brian? I don't think so. I think we can manage that. Can you understand me?
Yeah.
I hope so, yeah? Thank you.
So George, tell us about your Harvey Norman beginnings. You know, how did you even get started working with the brand and, you know, becoming the distributor of franchise here?
In 1999, right, I was in Australia. So I was talking to my MD. I have one subsidiary. So the MD, the name is called Peter. So we're having a breakfast in the morning. So Peter was sharing with me, say, George, there's one company in Australia did very well. PE, price to earning, about 40 to 45 times. I say, no lah, Peter. Only Microsoft, Bill Gates can do that. Australian company, I don't think so. He said, no. This is a very unique company. I say, how? He said, electrical, electronic. I said, what's so big deal? Brick and mortar business. He said, no. This is a franchise model. Oh. I say, he said, good. He said, good. Everybody like it. Oh, okay, can you arrange? So he managed to arrange a dinner for me. For me, I like to learn something that is different. So we sat down with this gentleman, Jerry. So we had a long conversation. Of course, I appreciate because he paid the bills. I asked for the meeting, he paid for the bill. That is very nice. So I was talking to him. Of course, we had to sell a big goyo. Asia, how big our populations, right? Especially China's and so on and so on. So they said, no lah. You see, my business is in Australia and New Zealand is good enough. I say, don't think like that. Think about Asia in the future. Maybe the next wave will be in Asia Pacific. So they say, okay. So I don't know anything about Singapore, but we can discuss again. So I say, okay, he invite me to say, you come back again next time to my office. So I take opportunity, very short period of time, I travel back again. I meet up with him and a couple of his chief executive and so on. So same thing, I try to pitch how Asia is important, how my business, my organization, I listed my company. So I own Rebel Sport at the point in time. It's also in Australia and New Zealand. So I have 2 listed companies, 1 and 2. So I say, why do you need to consider that? So that did very well, that meeting. I sell very well. They say, okay. He say, okay, you go and take a look what opportunity you have. I say, okay, if you give me the signal, I will do that. You know, for entrepreneur, your ear must be sensitive. You must know what people tell you. So they say, let's see what opportunity you have in Singapore. Of course, I come here. I look around, I see there's a company, it's available. During the financial crisis, the Asia financial crisis, during that, there's one company not doing very well. So I managed to discuss with the founder. I say, why don't we invest into your organization? I have a partner coming together. I can invest in your organization. So I report and explain to him, I found something. He said, okay, if this is an opportunity, you negotiate. So I was stunned. I say, Australian trust the Asian boy to negotiate on behalf of a listed company. So of course, I bring along the investment banker. Important, Brian, in business like that. If you know in the area you're no good, don't be shy to ask people to come along. So I bring someone in investment banker background, come together. I'm the chief negotiator, but investment banker to make sure the deal is doing a right deal. So sometimes it's a pair, You must always work a pair. So I managed to discuss with them. I strike the deal. I informed Jerry. I say, we got a deal. Jerry say, okay, I will come to Singapore. And then finally we signed the deal. We did very well. The share price almost doubled. So in 1999, that is my 3rd listed company. So from a simple shoemaking, then I list my company in 96, 97, retail. So I start my retail chain in Australia and New Zealand, the biggest one, called Rebel Sport. In 99, then I have this Harvey Norman. But that didn't stop me, Brian. In 2000, just 1 year later, when .com, you heard about .com, right? And you also heard about .com burst, right? So in 2000, I listed 2 companies in Singapore Stock Exchange. So that make up to become 5 listed company.
What would be your advice, for companies like that, who get always approached, let's say, this your company, we'll take it, take it to the market for you and so on. How should we approach that situation?
Brian, good question you asked this. In 1996, there's about 200 over listed companies in Singapore. But today we have more than 800 companies in Singapore are listed. And they were divided into 2 boards, right? Now we have this catalyst, and the other one is the main board. Of course, last time we called SETSTEC. Now the cost is structured quite different. In 1996, the cost structure is a bit low. We're talking about listing cost structure. So now the cost structure is different. The compliance are quite different now. Now, if the size of the company is small, my sincere advice, don't list. Because you look at from the ComSec to share registrar to independent director, to auditor, internal auditor, external auditors. You combine all the costs together. Now, you need cash flow. I hope we all understand about cash flow. Cash flow means every month you got to pay. That one make up about 400,000-500,000.
Wow.
If you're very good, 300,000 to 400,000. You pay very little everything. But you need a cash flow to outflow. It's already 300,000-400,000. If you're listed in a catalyst, you still need a sponsor. I think that is too much. Young men, don't rush. If a small little company, make it private is better to manage. Once you become a public listed company, there's a lot of costs involved, including the SGX fee. In the past, there's no fee to pay to XGX. Now pay a lot to XGX. So you must consider all the costs.
So only when a company reaches a certain size, right, then it would be maybe logical for them to go and list. Before that, it's best to keep your costs low. Right? So what sort of size do you think, maybe the revenue, annual turnovers should companies aiming to hit towards before they should even consider?
Brian, if you intend to expand, then it makes sense for you to consider take some money from the market, provided you intend to scale. If you just say, no, I just want to get it public because sound good, my family will be very nice, everybody thought my son is running a public listed company, my girlfriend will be very proud I run a public listed company. I think that's not the key one, I think. Leave it one side. I think if you need to expand, if you cannot borrow from the institution, I mean bank, then you can consider to talking about listing in the market. But make sure you can grow, okay? If you list, you cannot grow, no point. Don't waste your time. If you list, if you say, I want to grow 200%, 300%, that makes sense. You know, Brian, this is remind me in 1998, I moved into a new building called Wholesale Building. You know, sometimes the young men like myself, a lot of dream, you know, keep driving me, you know. In fact, at the time, I'm very happy when I see something coming, you know. I listed another company. Wow, it's very nice. I'm moving into the new building. Wow, you feel quite a lot difference, you know, at that time. You keep moving. Of course, I don't see a lot of money because most of the capital we are pouring into the company. Individually, we don't keep a lot of money at the time. Everything is in the company. Everything is. That also make the institution like you because the banker will trust you a lot because you don't take it out for your personal purposes.
Yeah, I think it's just all about delaying the short-term gratification.
Yeah, correct.
I feel that a lot of times, some of the founders that I've seen before, what they do is maybe they want to let go of the business. The first year, the second year, you know, them like they want to not even be the one hiring people. And to me, it's a bit of an amber or maybe a red flag because I feel that you have to go and put in the work first. You have to know your business inside out. You have to be completely obsessive about it before you can even think of trying to, you know, enjoy. And they really just want to shortcut. You know, I want to go in. I want to be my own boss. You know, I don't feel that's how it works. I feel that
you did touch one very interesting to hiring the people. The key positions of the organization you hire by yourself. Of course, your HR director can sit next to you, no issue. Because your subsidiary in country like not within the Singapore, it's better you must know the character of the person, whether this person can trust, because these are stand-alone. And of course, you also can make a good decision if the good one, as I say, can put some equity to them. So I strongly suggest when you hire the key position, it's better you still involved.
Yeah, I feel that, you know, founders should hire the first 200 employees minimum. You know, that's my personal thought on that. Because I feel that the people that you bring in the company affects the culture so much in the company. So for someone who's never done franchising before, right? Is it a viable business model? How are the people who start franchisees incentivized?
There are two types. This word used for two sectors. Some used for branding. You get a brand from overseas, you call franchise, the brand to this part of the world, or you call distributorship. So some people use franchise, but we don't talk about this franchise, okay? We talk about the other one. For example, the Yakun, like Clinic Kopitiam. So even Harvey Norman in Australia, or Singapore models are different. We don't use franchise. In Australia, we do franchise. So like Yakun, of course, if you want to open a Yakun store, you can talk to the owner to say that I have an X location, I will put X dollars. Because there's certain fee need to pay to the owner. There's certain, of course, the recipe and all this standard procedure all have to be from them. They will give you a so-called a set of procedure to do that. Franchise business, for me, I don't belong to this category. Because franchise, you're working with someone. You don't create your own intellectual property. Then you say, okay, I want to start a business. I want immediately there's a sale, a revenues, and so on. And recipe is a given. But there are two schools of thought, right? Even you do very well, but the brand will not belong to you.
So we say yours is more of a joint venture?
I would prefer to go and joint venture with someone, and I want to be part of it to enjoy the growth in the future. So that would be a better model. I give you an example. In 2004, there's a gentleman come and see me. Environmental business is something is in currently. Of course, we all know water treatment at the time. Waste management is another one. Energy saving is another one. So I was talking to the gentleman. Are you sure you have something about related to these three space? He said, yes. I said, okay. If you can bring along some, I don't mind to be a partner. So I did it. I put the company to listing in 2004. Market capitalization, water treatment company. Market capitalization, 116 million, 116. Of course, I put in all the capitals. So we become partner. Two of us become partner. So when we float the company, of course, you got other partner coming in. Subsequently, we bringing another fund to expand, because water treatment is capital nature is always very, very heavy. So we say, okay, we need to expand it. So we work about 11 years, total about 11 years. There was an offer, say, we would like to buy your company by the SOE from China, CITIC. So they offer approximately about 1.9 billion. So of course, all the founders were so excited. So when you're listed, it's only 116 million. So 11 years later, it's about 1.9 billion. Of course, everybody feel free to sell the share because we already listed at the point in time. That was a very successful deal. And I'm very happy with the deal. All the shareholders are making good money.
1.9 billion, that is a huge amount of money.
I mean, in your lifetime, I'm not the only first one who doing that. There are many, many tycoon or many successful entrepreneurs that did the deal, $1 billion. Of course, now there are many, many new industry. We cross $1 billion now.
What do you feel has been, apart from that, maybe has been your biggest achievement in terms of career?
If I look at 41 years, I more or less complete my entrepreneur's this cycle of my life. I think that's enough. Of course, you can still continue, business will never come to the end or something. You can continue and continue and continue. But you must know at which point in time in your life you need to change. You can't just continue just only business alone. So is there something more meaningful in your life you would like to consider? So I was so proud in 2016, the country say, why don't you become our ambassador? So that is something new. I never even think about this at all. So anyway, I was appointed for the last 6 years as ambassador, a non-residence ambassador. I mean, of course, this is an honorary position, no salary, okay?
So maybe was that the first time where you thought that, okay, I'm going to serve my country in some capacity?
Yes. I mean, this is a part of your life. You look at your chapter 1, your chapter 2, chapter 3, right?
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, most likely if you're successful, you'll become philanthropist. And subsequently, if you can become a diplomat, that will be good. At least you represent your country.
My father was a diplomat.
Is he?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I was born in the United States because of that.
Oh, I see. Full-time?
Yeah, it was.
Full-time career?
Yeah, it's full-time career.
Okay.
40 years ago lah.
Oh, wonderful. So you know the diplomat life, huh?
I was a bit young at that point, but yeah, I see pictures of him shaking hands with the US president.
Oh, I see. That's a full-time job. For us, it's very different. We are the non-residence ambassador. So basically, the honorary position appointed by the president, of course. Yeah.
George, how many hours would you say that you work a day now?
Minimum 12. You can't do 8 hours, to be very frank, just not enough. Of course, people like to say you better work smart, but I see the smart people also work very hard.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that if you're running your own business,
Yeah.
right, you are constantly just thinking about your own business all the time.
Yes.
It's a very different mindset from a salaried employee. In some sense, you don't switch off. In some sense, it's not for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of sacrifices that you have to go and make.
Yes.
So what are some sacrifices that you've made over the year? You know, I understand that you don't even watch Netflix because you don't have any time, right? But what are some of the the big sacrifices you've made over the years?
Because you spend a lot of time in your career, especially your workplace. I don't play golf. This is, I'm not sure good news. I think good news.
A good sacrifice, maybe.
I don't go to clubbing because I don't believe clubbing can close the deal.
Okay.
Only can taste of whiskey as well. I don't enjoy that. Of course, travel. I don't have much time to travel with my family. Maybe once a year. You can do it 2 times, will be very nice. So I try to do it once. Yeah, that is family times. But I do have a very good wife. My wife is taking care of the internal affairs, the children.
Again, it's like compliments, right? Like it complements your life, whether it's a co-founder, whether it's your partner for life.
Correct.
Someone who can add that value and complement you well.
I like to, you're right, the word you use, partner. Don't treat the wife just a housewife, because the role of the wife is very important. It's very difficult to manage, especially the children and all. It's not easy, So I have to spend most of my time in my career. So we complement each other. I think we take it as a partnership instead of just only my wife is the housewife. I don't think we should think that way.
Like the analogy I like to use is that if you're playing a computer game, it's not two warriors or 2 fighters or 2 tanks.
Yeah.
There's like one warrior class,
Yeah.
and there's one healer behind healing.
Yeah.
And that is like the perfect, perfect
right.
synergy.
Yeah, right.
What do you think of the youth of today? What are your thoughts on young Singaporeans?
I want to give a bit of encouragement to them. Think about George Goh. I don't have a car when I start my career, but it's okay. If I work hard, I will get there. So today, of course, I own a car. Second, they say, I want to own a house, BTO or whatever it is. Think about George Goh. George Goh, when I'm married, I stay in a renting flat for 1 room only, not the entire, it's only 1 room. It's okay, I don't have the house. It's fine. Third, young men say I'm not a scholar, because a scholar will always climb the ladder faster than. No, don't think this way. George Goh is not a scholar at all. But today, I'm a fairly successful businessman, entrepreneur in Singapore. If you're not a scholar, don't worry too much about it. Work harder a bit. You will be recognized one day. You will be there. Fourth, you say I'm not in Cambridge or Oxford or Imperial College. Doesn't matter at all. There are many people from Cambridge and Imperial and so on may not be as good as you. You think about it.
They do not close 1.9 billion deals.
Yeah, think about George Goh. George Goh didn't go to Cambridge or Oxford. So it's okay. You understand? You make your way, make it successful in your life. Now you don't have, doesn't mean future you don't have it. Important is right attitude, work hard. I want to have a vision. But vision sometimes can go down, it's okay, try again, okay? Don't worry about that. No, none of the perfect, the entrepreneur will make it all the time, no. Even the ones who make it very well in the world, they have some point in time, they have some investment fail one.
George, I remember all you had when you started were slippers,
Yes.
plastic bags, and a
Yes.
train ticket to Singapore.
Exactly. And you come, another fifth thing is, you may be from a family that is, we call normal or ordinary family. It's fine. No need to be the elite group. All right, that is a very small percentage. Don't worry about them. Understand? Stay firm. Stay where you are. If you keep watching about this group of people, you are very upset. You believe yourself. You're from 80% of the young people are from ordinary family.
So George, what does the future hold for you?
I'm now 63. At this point in time, my heart is for my people and for the nation.
Thank you so much, George, for sharing with us your
Yeah.
entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you. Brian, I must say thank you so much. Allow me to share my history.
George, anything you'd like to tell the audience before we leave?
I want to say first thank you, Brian and the team. Second, to the young people, don't give up. Keep trying, okay? Think about George Goh, and then you say, I can.
If George Goh can, you can.
Yes, if George Goh can, you can.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. If anyone out there wants to go and collaborate with us, just also feel free to go and reach out in the description box to contact us. It was great having you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.